talked about it on Instagram, so you're familiar with it, right?
Yes.
So half of the reason I'm here now, Steve, is because of the one post you made about hiring bad guys, right? Hiring drug dealers and convicts. And
they have the right skill experience.
we sell, we maneuver, we're problem solvers, that kind of thing. So I've never publicly spoken about my past. Certain guys in my area, certain guys that know me know about my past. But I did graduate college, 2 degrees, and the whole time I was in college and even in high school, I dabbled in illegal activity. I'm not proud of it by any stretch. I had all the energy, and I just channeled it in the wrong direction. So during undergrad, there were a lot of drug usage. We were, me and a group of roommates we were selling drugs, using drugs, parties. And after I graduated, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I was taking a year off, and I ultimately ended up getting incarcerated. I got in trouble and got caught with a significant amount of drugs, and that ultimately ended up in a prison sentence. I was found guilty in North Carolina, sentenced to 35 to 42 months in the state prison. And that wasn't the end of it. So halfway through that incarceration, the federal government came, the FBI, the ATF, and they had some other charges for me and some roommates of mine while I was in college. We were working at UPS. Long story longer, without having to Google everything. We were basically throwing boxes over the fence, just a bunch of young guys stealing stuff.
Doing stupid things.
Not because we were bad guys. We were opportunistic, and we were young, and we were crazy, and we said, if we steal this box of tennis shoes, then we can sell it, right? If we steal this box of Steph Curry jerseys, right, we can sell them. There's a good market.
Keep your eyes off my jersey.
Yeah, right. So, once again, I've never really spoken publicly about this, but I was incarcerated for 7 years, from early 2003 to late 2009. And it's actually while I was incarcerated, somebody handed me Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read it. I fell in love with it. I needed more. Somebody handed me Think and Grow Rich. So all the books that most of the guys who've sitting in this chair who have read before, I had the opportunity to read while I was incarcerated.
Yeah.
And I mapped out a game plan. And financial freedom was part of that game plan. When I came home from that incarceration, being a 2-time convicted felon, it's hard, almost impossible to get a job. I was blessed and fortunate enough that my dad, he owned some sports bars and nightclubs, and he put me to work in the family business, and that afforded me an easy transition back into the real world. And about the time that I met my wife, I inadvertently, subconsciously promised her and my in-laws that I would get out of the service industry, the nightclub business. Once again, I didn't know how I was going to break up with my dad. It's not easy to do. Once again, go back to divine intervention. My wife and I were married in September. The local municipality, Malden City, came in and shut our nightclub down on the grounds that our nightclub was a public nuisance. So it saved me from having to break up with my dad.
Yeah.
Which would have been heartbreaking on several different levels.
Of course.
But now I'm newly married, 2 months married, unemployed, 2-time convicted felon. I took a major hit to the ego. What am I going to do? How am I going to provide for my new wife? As a man, that's what you're supposed to do, provide.
Right.
So I started calling everybody and anybody that I knew, reached out to several guys I went to high school with, and one of them brought me in. It was a manufacturing gig. It had nothing to do with my degrees. He said, listen, I can bring you in as a temp through a staffing company. Your job will be to count widgets. You'll be a cycle counter. You'll make $13 or $14 an hour. He said, but what I can do, I'll put you in the right situations, in the right rooms. And me and this guy hadn't seen each other in 15 years. He knew that I was a good kid when we were growing up.
Right.
But here I am out of prison, 2-time convicted felon, and I'm begging him for a chance. He's like, I'll sneak you in under the staffing company. I'll put you in the right circles, in the right rooms, but it's up to you to get to work on time. It's up to you to show up every day and get the job done. It's up to you to hold yourself accountable. And within 6 months or 9 months, they created this warehouse manager job for me. And I went from making $12 or $13 an hour to now making $60,000 a year within a very short amount of time. So divine intervention. Right?
Yeah.
From that, I was able to parlay that working relationship and that opportunity to build a trust within my employers. And I just parlayed that. And like I said, when I left the corporate world in 2020, I was a production manager, production supervisor, making 80 grand a year. I was over 12 guys, and Johnson Controls is the company I was working for. They're a global company. So every step of the way was divine intervention. And no, I didn't. I think the long answer to that question was no, I wasn't using my degrees, right? And I learned some hard lessons.
And the reason why I'm pushing this, right? And I might be, you know, if someone's listening, like, man, why is like Steve's beating up on Shane? You know?
Yeah, no.
But like, I've had multiple friends that I know that did something stupid, right? I mean, there was one guy who, you know, was defending, like, his friend got jumped in the nightclub. He went to go defend his friend. Now he's a convicted felon, and the guy cannot get a regular job.
Oh man.
And I mean, and that's just one instance, you know.
Story.
And I grew up in a mostly sheltered life, so I didn't really get to witness this until I got older. But that's why I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship, is that you don't have to have, like, it doesn't matter what your background is, right? If you're willing to put in the work, willing to put in the hustle, you can do this for yourself.
Sure.
And one of the things that, you know, I see a lot of regulation coming down the pipeline. We're passing one in Arizona. Like, this was just announced very, very recently. But there's a lot, and Arizona's getting off pretty cheap, but like a lot of other states, you have to become a licensed realtor. And like, my biggest fear when I hear these things, right, is these guys have they discovered wholesaling, whatever, as a means to legitimately build financial wealth for them and their families.
Sure.
And if these regulations go the wrong way,
oh man,
these people are getting eliminated.
Yes.
From that process. So